Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with What Are You Listening to Lately? WAYLTL for short. Well, I have a confession to make. I have this sneaky affection for the consort music of William Laws. William Laws, most people haven't even heard of it, right? He lived from 1602 to 1645, not very long, but he wrote a good bit of music for a consort of various things. Viol consort, what they call a broken consort, which was a consort partly of viols, partly of like violins and other goodies. You know, there were all sorts of arrangements. These early examples, really early examples, pre-Baroque examples of chamber music are often extremely haunting and very beautiful. And of course, it's true. It's very true. It's all too true that viols, especially bass viols, sound like dying cows, especially when they're played according to period instrument precepts, which means, you know, that sort of horrible mooing sound where they squeeze and pinch all the notes so it goes like that. The truth of the matter is you get used to it. You really do. I mean, cows are nice animals. So, you know, I mean, my grandfather was a butcher. He could tell you how nice they were and how tasty too. The bottom line is that Laws wrote splendid music for an ensemble of these creatures. And the most interesting ones, I think, are for ensembles of mixed instruments because you get wonderful texture and coloristic variety, all of which brings us to this little treat on the ATMA label, the Harp Consorts. Laws was actually a theorbo player. He played a 13 or 12 string theorbo, which is like a lute. You know, it's a big lute with lots and lots of strings and things hanging off of it. Anyway, there are 10 harp consorts, and there is, according to the notes here, a huge scholarly debate over just what kind of harp he intended to be used in the harp concerts, whether it was the Irish harp or the Celtic harp, as we sometimes call it, you know what they look like, you know, or the double harp imported from Europe, from France. The consensus as far as these performances go seems to be the double harp of European origin. It doesn't matter to me at all as long as it sounds good. And it sounds luscious. Absolutely marvelous. You've got this wonderful ensemble. The harpist is Maxine Eilander, and the ensemble is Les Voix Humaines, the human voices. That seems to suggest that they're not going to play with a total lack of warmth, and they don't. They really don't. They sound actually quite lovely. We have Stephen Stubbs on theorbo and guitar, David Greenberg on Baroque violin, and Susie Napper and Margaret Little both playing violas da gamba. You know, the leg viola. Gamba is a leg, right? As opposed to the viola da braccia, which is an arm thing. So they play the leg ones. You know, they look like cellos, kind of, sort of. And they play them beautifully. You know, most of this type of music, this concert music, is not terribly difficult technically. In other words, it's not, you know, meant to be played at like virtuoso tempi. The pieces are mostly moderate at speed. They consist of, well, I'll tell you what they consist of. Why don't we take a look, shall we? They're not long, these various consorts, by the way. Let's see, consort number 8. It's a pavane and divisions. In other words, a theme and variations, essentially. The variations can be faster by virtue of their divided note values. You know, some of them are written in shorter note values so that they go faster. But the overall tempo, this is leisurely music meant to be relished at a time when things didn't move as quickly as they do today. Consort number 7 is just an aria. It's only 2 minutes long. Consort number 3, on the other end, is a whole suite. It's an allemande courante, another courante, and a sarabande. So you've got those dance things happening, and the dances are nicely contrasted. You do get contrast. It's not like there's no variety. It's just that the music itself is not, going to, it's not fireworks. It's gracious. It's intimate. It's beautiful. It's lovely stuff. Then consort 11 is just a fantasy. Consort number 4 has 2 airs, a courante and a sarabande. A bunch of them are just a pavane and divisions. That is a pavane and variations. That's numbers 6 and numbers 9. Numbers 5, 6, 1, and 2. These aren't played in order, so that's why they're out of order here. Have all kinds of dances: allemands, courants, sarabands, in various orders and arrangements. And then at the end, there's the duo for guitar and harp. Now, according to the sources here, not all of the harp parts survive intact. Numbers 5 and 6, the harp parts had to be reconstructed. The left hand was there because the bass line is there, but the right hand is not. And they added something. It works perfectly well. I don't know what they did. I don't really care what they did. The scores for these pieces were only published rather recently. And the music does not deserve its obscurity. It really doesn't. It's lovely, consoling, gracious, tuneful, and colorful. Wonderfully colorful, the way these folks manage to produce it. It does require a certain amount of, recreative imagination in order to fill out the textures and whatnot. But autograph scores exist for a lot of this stuff. The only issue is how much did Laws actually write down? And like most music of this period, it does require some filling out, but that's okay. They fill it. They do it, and they do it beautifully. And they're very, very warmly recorded by ATMA. This is a lovely disc for people who are interested in early chamber music and want to impress their friends with their knowledge of obscure things. It's not really the reason to get it. The reason to get it is because it's beautiful, beautiful music. I think that will really captivate you, and you can listen to as much or as little as you like. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing to have all of these harp consorts on one disc, performed complete, with such sensitivity and nuance, and I just love this disc. I do, and for some reason, every so often I come back to it. It was actually, was it actually published? What was the year? 2008. So it's been around for a while. It's been around for quite a while, but I've enjoyed it for more than a decade now, well more than a decade, maybe almost 2 decades, and it's not good. 2008 to 2025. Yeah, more than a decade. That's fair. That's fair. And it hasn't let me down once, and it won't let you down either. William Laws, the Harp Consorts, with Maxine, Eilander, and Les Voix Humaines on ATMA. Give it a shot if you want something really, really different and refreshing for a change. Keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.